Hey Facebook gang, it's Bob bringing you Positive Vibe Session number 52. We are on number 3 of the Buddhist Eightfold Path. The first was right view, the second was right intention. Those were more thinking about some mindful qualities, dealing with emotion, the mental constructs. This is now moving into the next 3, which are more about action, more about right expression of right view and right intention. So number 3, right speech. Right speech is broken down into 4 categories. The first is the abstaining from lying, or in the more positive sense, in always telling the truth. The second one is abstaining from slanderous speech. So slanderous speech, think of as maybe more like gossip. The third is abstaining from harsh speech. Harsh speech being, hurtful speech, things that might be foul language. It might be injurious to somebody, where you may be you're just saying it because you're angry, or you may be saying it to get somebody riled up. Again, usually with the intent of causing suffering. And the fourth category of right speech is abstaining from idle chatter. Idle chatter meaning less about gossip and more about just saying things for the sake of saying them. The more positive side of that fourth category is saying things of value. So when you speak, that it should have some value, some merit, that it's beneficial to others and their ultimately spiritual advancement or enlightenment. So all 4 of those taken together in right speech, it has some really interesting effects. And I've had some other positive vibe sessions on choosing our words carefully, being mindful of what we say. It operates on a few different levels, as most of the Eightfold Path does. On one level, using right speech, avoiding the things that should be avoided, and engaging in the kind of speech that is beneficial, ultimately on a sort of a base level, it creates goodwill and good effect for community, right? So whether it's the Sangha that practices together, or just in our social constructs, our friendships, our family, by using good speech and avoiding the 4 elements of bad speech or wrong speech, we create harmony. We create a better world and environment in which to live. And you can see many cases where when we don't do that, and part of the reason that I'm doing this whole Facebook series anyway, is for a lot of the negative things that get put out there because of idle chatter, because of gossip, because of hurtful words, or because of misinformation and lies that are spread around. So at a base level, it operates as a way to, just cultivate goodness in the world, which in and of itself is great. But on maybe a more metaphysical level, for the individual who engages in that practice of right speech, it also is a mental purification. So it ultimately leads to deeper levels of richness and fertility for spiritual advancement and growth, to get into the higher levels of meditative training, that you're not sort of leaking away your energy and enthusiasm by wasting your time with idle chatter or gossiping about somebody and creating suffering in the world. By avoiding those things, by avoiding creating suffering through speech, you start cleansing the mental construct. What you say is a reflection of what you think. Maybe it's a direct reflection, maybe it's inverse, or maybe you're trying to be deceitful, or maybe you're not sure what you're trying to do and you're just saying things. But ultimately, being very intentional about what you say, speaking the truth, avoiding gossip, avoiding hurtful speech, avoiding sort of idle chatter, the knickknacks of conversation that we often engage in because they're silence. Those are meant to be left behind, and really spending time engaging in fruitful speech and helpful speech and compassionate speech, truthful speech. Now, what do we do with that? So as lay people, right, we're not all monks and nuns. We are people that have family relationships. We are people that have friends. We meet strangers. There are needs for us to be social. There are needs for us to have chatter, to be able to strike up a conversation with somebody. And maybe it leads to something more fruitful. But it is, as we really think seriously about our spiritual advancement, if this is a path that we choose, even then, even in the idle chatter, to be thinking about, do I say something just to be funny because I know it will get a laugh? Do I participate in a joke because it's hurtful, or do I do I take a stand against some of those things? And I think we've all been in situations throughout at least one point in our life where we get included in something or we laugh at something that we really probably shouldn't. And we realize like those are just, those are mental cobwebs that sort of prevent us from really focusing our energy on the spiritual development. Many of you will find in conversation with me, as much as I'm talking now and as much as I like to try and offer advice, most of the time that I'm speaking, I try to be really conscious of this practice and of right speech, to be useful in some way, to provide perspective in some way, to be supportive, and to be a champion for other people. Most of the time I'm not talking. I might listen a little bit uncomfortably closely in terms of maybe I make a lot of eye contact, or maybe I sit and absorb and listen. I don't nod a whole lot. I don't agree. I don't go, "Oh no, girl, I can't believe that," because I'm trying to be really mindful of what I hear. And then when it's time, when I feel it's beneficial, I try and offer something or add something in that context. Now, I post on Facebook. I post memes. I post things that are kind of, I think are funny. I love a good turn of the word. Puns are hilarious. So many of you will send me puns, or we'll have these exchanges. I love that, but I also recognize like if I'm really serious about my spiritual advancement, I understand that those are maybe small leaks in where I might be able to spend my time and energy differently. And I accept that, and I know that about myself, and I recognize when I'm doing that, when I'm choosing to do it, and the effect that that's having. But it's when we're not mindful of those things that it really can creep up on us. So more than happy to share links if people are more interested in this. But right speech is actually, of the Eightfold Path, for the layperson and the normal person that is just living in everyday life, I think this one probably has the most applicability. It has made the biggest difference in my life in terms of where I'm at and how I process information and how I interact with other people. It becomes so important. One last thing I'll leave you with is this also means other people's speech too, the things that we listen to. So if it's reality television, if it's the news, if it's things that we read, that's a part of it too. It's not just our own actions, but it's also what we allow to penetrate our minds, what we allow to take up residence there. If we're listening to somebody else and go through idle chatter or hateful speech, doesn't mean we bury our heads in the sand and completely ignore it all. It can become a meditation, but I can't emphasize enough how it's not just my own actions and the things that I say, but it's also what I allow other people to say around me and what I surround myself with on a regular basis. A little bit longer session today, so I hope you're all okay with that. I hope that this is educational for you. I hope that you all love each other. I hope that you all teach and inspire each other every day, and that you express gratitude for one thing for which you're thankful today. And we'll talk to you for Positive Vibes Sesh number 53 tomorrow. Cheers.